Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. Hope you're doing well. We have today a tale of two books. Two books which both differ in content and enjoyment. Stick around. So we're going to start with Nightmare in Pink by John D. MacDonald, book number 2 in the Travis McGee series, written in 1964. It's a mystery, hard-boiled crime story. Travis McGee, definitely becoming one of my favorite kind of series characters, and I really enjoyed this book. So let's talk about the summary of it. So Travis McGee receives a plea from an old Army buddy named Mike Gibson. He is in a VA hospital, and he wants Trav to help out his sister Nina. And Nina recently lost her fiance, Howard, who was recently murdered in what appears to be a random mugging. So Travis goes to New York City to do some investigative work, meet up with Nina, try to get the particulars of the case, try to get the lay of the land, so to speak. And upon investigation, McGee discovers that Howard had uncovered some financial irregularities with the firm he worked for, which I believe was Armister Hawes. It was the name of the firm. And shortly before his death, he apparently uncovered some things that he wasn't supposed to uncover. As McGee delves deeper into the investigation, he uncovers that there's both corporate corruption, embezzlement, and a sinister plot that is more than just meets the eye. That's definitely like from Transformers, I think. Is it Transformers more than meets the eye? Thank you, Google. It is Transformers. I was right. Life can go on today. Oh, back to the review. And so now let's talk about what I enjoyed about this story. I really like the character Travis McGee. I think it was an interesting plot and premise here. I thought it was interesting, helping an old buddy. There's a female that he has to, get information, spend some time with, and obviously something's going to develop there, which it does. That's not surprising. I really thought both Nina and Bonita were two female characters in the story that I think helped really support Travis in the story, and I think McGee needed it. And I really liked how some of the climax happened in the sense that Travis needs help. I thought he was very vulnerable. He gets into a really awkward position in the climax of the story, and he needs assistance. And I thought that was interesting to see that kind of side of him, because he's always kind of making things out. He's always kind of squeaky clean. Well, I say that after only reading two novels now, but I really enjoyed this. It's like he's more vulnerable, and I thought it really played well for a character for him. I liked kind of the nods at corporate corruption, embezzlement. I thought it played well, especially being in New York City. I liked the alienation, and I definitely liked kind of the twist at the end. I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, Nina and Trav have a relationship. It's pretty somewhat serious, but you kind of know, like, with a 22-book series, is he ever going to get super serious with any of these dames? I mean, honestly, I kind of expected what ends up happening towards the end, but I thought MacDonald's kind of how he wrote the ending of this was really, really well done. And so in terms of excerpts, there was one I thought was really good. It was, I think it is a lot of money, and we are still carnivorous, and money is the meat. If there's a lot of money and any possible way to get at it, I think people will do some strange and warped things. And that's very fitting of kind of the overall climax of this story. So in terms of rating and overall, I give this a 4.3. I thought it was great. It's just below book number 1, but I think it definitely stands alone. It's a nice second entry into a long series. And so, again, I think it paints Travis McGee as a character that is going to have a nice arc to it. I really liked the premise. I liked the plot. Maybe one criticism was the pacing was a tad slow in the middle. But again, I thought the female characters in their own kind of little arcs and personalities help kind of see that through. I only think it got slow because it was developing what it was going to go in. I think, like most good books, this is kind of like a roller coaster. You're going to have these slow periods where you're climbing up so you can get that rip-roaring downhill, and this definitely is one of those. So in terms of, is this for you? Is this not for you? I kind of stole a page out of Professor X's, kind of reviews, and I wanted to go with kind of red light, green light. And so if you don't mind some slower setup pacing in the middle, if you don't, if a weird hospital kind of jump scene, where you have a slightly psychotic woman that's trying to take advantage of a guy that's down and out in a hospital, yeah, this might be a red light for you. If those things kind of bother you, definitely this is a red light for you. If, however, you like a book that has many slow rises, many fast-paced turns, twists, if you like a decent kind of soft romance with two characters, this is definitely a green light. And if you obviously like series and like the hard-boiled mystery and crime, it's definitely a green light for you. And so that is my take on Nightmare in Pink, book number 2 in the Travis McGee series. I give it a 4.3 out of 5. And stick around, because what I have next, we're going to talk about Me, Tanner, You, Jane. And it's not going to be like most of my reviews, so stick around. So, welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. Hope you're doing well. As you know, I've been trying to double up on some of my book reviews, and that was my intention here. And there probably will be 2 parts to this video. One being my review of Nightmare in Pink by John D. MacDonald, book number 2 in the Travis McGee series. Really enjoyed it. The second part is probably going to be my rambling here about Me, Tanner, You, Jane by Lawrence Block, book 7 in the Evan Tanner series. And so, as I sat down last night, started getting my notes together for everything I wanted to talk about, kind of following my normal format for both of these books, which I recently finished, I started to struggle with this one. Not that I didn't recall some of the details. I mean, this is a typical Evan Tanner series. I've got one more to finish it out. But this one, is not more out there than anything else I've read from him. Evan Tanner, sleep center of his brain, was messed up in the Korean War, and so he doesn't sleep, but he knows all these languages. He's a part of all these things. Some guy, while he's eating at a diner, comes up to him and starts saying some weird things, and he knows it's code for go to this hotel, and the chief's waiting for him because he's got a mission. And he talks about he has 2 boys, and he's got Mina still living with him, and you can tell that Block is sunsetting Tanner as well. There was a couple of different instances where he's like, I don't know if I want to continue to do this. I kind of like the simple life. But he goes over to Africa, to Madonna Land, because there's a asset from the CIA that's over there that went AWOL, and then there's also kind of a attaché member that they're also interested in finding, and so they send Tanner over to do this kind of mission, and it turns into one of those things where there's revolutionists, and it's in a part of the world where there's tribesmen, and you can get into a lot of trouble. And yeah, it's a typical Evan Tanner kind of quick, fast-paced, wacky, out there read. It's written in 1970. It's number 7 of 8. And so it sounds like it's right up my alley. And it would be. If it wasn't for one particular instance that I have a problem with, that I would give this my full review and everything, and probably would be like a 4.2, 4.1 book, which is right in the decent Evan Tanner kind of score. But as a father of girls, I have a problem with this book. I know this book was written 50 some odd years ago. I know Lawrence Block started his career as a writer of erotica. And not that this book is super spicy, although Lawrence Block can be spicy at times, but this one in particular goes into where Tanner, the character, has an intimate relationship with a local liaison in Africa that he meets up with that's helping him, and she's underage. And it just doesn't sit well with me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because this was 55 years ago and that was just part of the time type thing, or it wasn't taboo back then. But as a father, yeah, I have a problem with that. And so, yeah, that's all. that's all I'm really going to say. I just wanted to be transparent why, like, I talked about not doing every book I read. I wasn't going to do a review for every single thing. And then a lot of you all were like, hey, no, don't do that. We like the book reviews. And that's great. I appreciate the feedback. And so I'm going to try to continue to do book reviews for everything I read. I'm not going to say I'm going to do every single book, but I'm going to do a vast majority of them because I think that's why I started the channel. But on this one in particular, I'm going to pass on doing a review on this one other than more than what I just said. Because I think it's, yeah. Again, if you take all that, okay, two things. If you take all that away, the book is it's an Evan Tanner book. It's not a blow me away book. This is just such great fiction. Like, no. But I like Block. He's one of my favorite authors. And if you notice on the channel and the different playlists, I have a ton of Lawrence Block reviews on there. But this one was just a bad decision. Like, I don't know what's going on. Now, I did read the afterword in this book, and at the time, he proposed this book to a different publisher because the first 6 books weren't really hitting it, and he was only getting so much money up front for it, so he tried to find a different contract. And he made mention, like, the person that he pitched the book to was kind of like hungover or yeah, he must have been, because he went ahead and wrote the contract without really getting into, a lot of the meat of this. But why this girl had to be underage is beyond me. It doesn't do anything to move the story or make it more authentic. She could have been 30 and it would have been just fine. She could have been 25, it would have been fine. I mean, she's 15. So I don't know. It's not heavy-handed, but it's talked about enough, and Tanner realizes this is not appropriate at first, but then, like, I don't know if he was trying to write, well, men are men type. I don't know. It was just, that's all I'm going to say. I'm really disappointed, to be honest with you, and, obviously I finished the book. I am going to finish the 8th book to knock that out. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I just didn't want to do my normal stuff and talk about all the great things and everything else. I mean, like, you should, and give you any, if you want to read this book, that's up on you. That's perfectly on you. I think the other books in the series are way better. I just think this one's a pass for sure, just because of that subject matter, especially if you're a dad. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about this one. So I'll just add this video to my review of Nightmare in Pink by John D. MacDonald. I hope you understand and appreciate the transparency. I will talk to you in the next one. Thanks.